So I'm sitting here today with Annika Betts and Tanja Martel, two Ontario girls who now live in Kelowna. So I'd like to ask both of you, when did you come to Kelowna and why? So, Annika.
Sure. So I moved out here about 5.5 years ago, and I like to think I have a romantic story because my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, had lived here previously. We've known each other for a long time, and he came back to Ontario. We started dating, and he was interested in moving out this way. So I had always wanted to move to BC, even before him and I were together, because I did a university grad trip out to Whistler and just fell in love with the province, and it just didn't work out to be able to come up until 5.5 years ago. So we packed our bags and both had jobs waiting for us once we got here, and it's been Kelowna ever since.
That's awesome. So he suggested Kelowna, and were you like, what's Kelowna? Or did you go on internet?
I knew about it already because at the time I worked for Peller Estates in Ontario, so I've been in the wine industry for a while, and they have wineries out here, and luckily for me they were actually advertising for a job, so I had applied for it and got it, which made it a lot easier to be able to move out this way.
Right. And how about you, Tanja?
A little bit different. It turned romantic once I got here. But I moved out here because while I was at university in Ontario, my parents were empty nesters and they chose to move out here from Oakville, Ontario. And so when I graduated, I tried to find a job in Toronto, but it was 2008 and it was an economic downturn and it was pretty tough. So I figured, why not go live at home for a little bit and go from there. And then when I got here and I was like, whoa, this is home. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
So I had a couple odd jobs for the first year, and then I landed a job at a winery at Cedar Creek Estate Winery. And that's where my passion and love for wine started and grew from there. And so here I am.
So how did the two of you know each other?
We worked together. So at the time when we met, I was the manager at Sandhill Winery, so right downtown, and was looking for an assistant manager, and Tanja had applied. So her and I were both actually kind of going through very similar things in life. We were both engaged in wedding planning, and so we just instantly hit it off, not only as coworkers, but then became really good friends and remained ever since.
And that was about 5 years ago?
About that, yeah.
That you met, so you're working together, and you've decided at some point to start this business together. When did you come up with the concept for Red Lips and Wine Sips? Whose idea was it?
Okay, a little bit of both, I would say, but we just really solidified ideas that we were thinking about up until this year.
I think we both have a bit of an entrepreneurial side, and I have a business with my dad already, so I've been working that kind of mindset, not the corporate side, for 4 years now. And I was always trying to come up with something new that I'd like to do. And when it came to kind of deciding who to do it with, I definitely knew I wanted to do it with Annika because we get along great, and we work well together, and we have different work ethics, but they work well together.
Nice.
So yeah, and the idea really only came about maybe early this year, and the business was born in May. So it's pretty young.
I'm guessing you had many conversations together about wine.
Yes.
Over wine.
Yes.
And so tell us about the concept. What is this business about?
So the concept is we worked in the industry for a long time, and we recognize that it's a bit of like an old boys club, especially for the people that are sommeliers and doing the wine education portion of it. And we both got our WSET 3 certification this past winter, and we really wanted to find a way to leverage that. And we enjoyed spending time with people and talking about wine. And that's what it came down to. And we figured, what better way than to do that with people in their own homes where they're most comfortable, and kind of break that barrier that some people feel there is with wine. They're a little bit intimidated. They feel like they need to know more about wine before they can enjoy wine, which isn't true.
Right.
But we're there to kind of give you those basic things that will make you feel comfortable.
Right.
And we live in an amazing area which has so much wine to offer.
Yes.
You should not feel that way at all, right? So the more you know about it, the more you can go out and enjoy it and love Kelowna even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you come to people's homes with some samples. And you give them a little education.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, so the premise is in-home wine tasting parties. So we have a few different packages that people can choose from. Like Tanya mentioned, we have our WSET 3. So we do have a little bit of worldly knowledge about wines as well. So depending on what people are looking for, we can cater the parties to their likes and dislikes. So the first package that we have is just about Okanagan wine. So we would taste through about 4 different wines with them, a couple whites, a couple reds. Or if they want all whites, all reds, then that's possible as well. We'll add in some fun elements to it as well, but then there's also going to be that underlining little bit of education just to get people more knowledge about the wines that they're trying. So be it tasting flavors or about the winery, about the region itself, whichever.
Food pairings as well.
Yeah.
That's
Food
always
pairings.
a popular one, yeah.
Will you have food at
We can.
these tastings? So it's
We can. It's
part
an
of the
option.
package, yeah. And tell us about the WSET. What does that stand for? WSET. Do you know what that stands for?
Yep. So it stands for Wine Spirit Education Trust. So it's based out of England, and it's just wine education, and it's divided between Old World, so like France, Italy, basically all of the wine regions. There's a little small chapter about Canada, so it'll be nice to see that continue to get a little bit larger as the years go by, and as Canada, not only the Niagara region, but also the Okanagan or BC becomes more of a designated wine region around the world. But yeah, and so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of information, and you learn everything from what happens in the vineyard to winemaking, more in-depth information about the different varietals, and then of course you taste a lot of wine.
That's great. How many levels are there in the WSET, and what's the difference between 1, 2, and 3? So you've done 3. Kara here is going to take her number 2
Yeah.
Very exciting.
next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between 1, 2, and 3?
It grows in theory, the amount of theory you learn, and in the number of wines you taste, and it gets more and more specific. So you start kind of in a general form. You start pretty wide, and then you work your way in and learn more specifically about each region. So in the first level, you may have learned, they do have wine in Germany and France, Germany, France, Spain, and these are the varietals. But then you'll dig deeper and you'll go, well, these are the specific regions, and this is where those varietals come from. And in number 3 for us last winter, it was tedious. Like, you're learning what soil type is in Bordeaux, France, and why is it that they have those grapes planted there, and how does winemaking, wine growing impact the price of the wine at the end, like all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's
And
interesting.
then there's one level further that you can go that I don't know if we're planning on doing or not, but it is your diploma, so that would be considered level 4 in WSET, and that is like a 2-year program. That's
Wow.
very intense. We have a friend, a colleague that's taking it right now, and it's a little scary to hear some of his reports from his class, but it does sound interesting. But again, I'm not too sure if that's something that we're going to get into.
Right. So it's a little bit misleading to a layperson, because level 2 and level 3 and level 4, it's kind of exponentially more complex and difficult and intense, right?
Yes.
And you said level 4 is a 2-year
About that, yeah.
course. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's essentially like taking a master's program in wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name?
This?
Red Lips, yes.
Red Lips.
You both have red lipstick on.
Yes.
It's lovely.
We're pretty girly, and we do like to dress up and have fun with that, obviously. And we wanted something that was approachable to the public, approachable to women, to men actually as well.
Right.
We wanted something that wasn't kind of the old boys club. So
Right.
something light and fun and sassy, which is what we are.
It's very catchy and memorable to easy
Yes.
to remember.
Yes.
We hope so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Better
What's
than red teeth.
Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe it'll mask the red wine teeth. Yeah.
Right, yeah. What's the largest group you would do? So I'm thinking like this is mainly dinner parties, home parties.
It could be, but there's also a corporate element that we would like to tap into as well, or could get involved in. So be it work Christmas parties and having a table set up off to the side and just being the people that are pouring the wine throughout the night, or again, having that educational side where it is a wine tasting that we could be hosting. So we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in saying that 10 is the max, because the whole corporate side is another area that we would love to get into as well.
Right.
And especially with Christmas parties coming up, we think that we're going to start getting pretty busy soon.
That's great. So how long does a typical tasting take? So if someone invites you to their home, they select one of these packages, how long are you there for?
It really depends on the evening, the number of people, and what kind of element that they're looking for, be it more fun or more educational, a little bit of both. But anywhere from an hour, hour and a half would be kind of the average for us to be there.
All right.
So that goes through about 4 or 6 wines, depending on how much, and that also depends on how many wines they want to go through as well.
Right.
But on average, about an hour and a half.
And it's because you're taking a break between each taste, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not spending 30 minutes drinking one bottle.
No.
And then the second bottle, it's like you taste and then you go back to conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, so it's pretty laid back. So we'll go through a tasting with them, go through a number of wines. And then after the tasting portion is finished, we actually leave the wine there for them to be able to enjoy for the rest of the evening.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Can we try an abbreviated version of what you do?
100%. We'd love to do that. Okay.
Awesome.
Pull up the glasses. So
I brought glassware.
We bring the glassware. That's one thing too. So we bring
nice.
that. We bring the glassware. We bring the wine. We bring the fun.
Are these universal Riedel glasses?
Yes.
Because otherwise we'd be dealing with like my coffee mug here.
Yeah, which the folks from the Hatch would say it's totally fine. Yeah. So when we're trying to figure out what wine we should taste with you today, we actually discovered that today is International Pinotage Day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So have you heard of a Pinotage before?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've
So
heard
this
Pinot.
awesome. Yeah, exactly. So this is actually an awesome topic to talk about because Pinot Noir is pretty widely planted in the Okanagan, so you will see that often. But Pinotage is a different story. So Pinotage is a grape varietal from South Africa. And it actually originated by crossing the Pinot Noir grape with a grape called Sanso, which is from the Rhone region of France.
Nice.
And Sanso used to be called Hermitage, hence the name Pinotage.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we picked up a Pinotage Reserve from The View, which is a lovely little winery up in East Kelowna. So we're going to taste that today. And I'll go around and pour.
So what are your thoughts on screw caps versus corks?
It's easy.
Much easier, right?
It is. So I remembered when a lot of the wineries were starting to switch over to screw caps because cork is definitely what people are used to, and it has a whole romance behind it of, especially when you're at a restaurant, right? Going out for a romantic dinner and you have the waiter or waitress coming and doing the whole show with the cork. And but at the end of the day, screw cap, although it's a little less attractive, it's actually better because there's less chances of your wines getting corked or oxidated too early because it does have that seal on it. So I get it. I do love a really great bottle of, like a corked bottle of wine. But at the end of the day, I would like my wines to hold on a little bit longer. So it works.
Yeah.
Not the most romantic, but it
just
works.
to add to it, a fact that not a lot of people know about is that when you have a cork, like your wine has a cork in it, the spoilage rate is 1 in 12. So that's one bottle a case. And like, what other industry is it fully acceptable to sell someone, like a spoiled bottle in every 12
Every
wines?
single case, yeah.
That's not acceptable, right?
That's right.
But we have this idea just because it's traditional that it's the way to go.
Right.
It needs to evolve.
Right.
100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Before we do anything, let's just swirl our wine here.
And why don't we do that?
So we swirl our wine to aerate it. So this wine has been in bottle for a little while. This is a 2016 vintage, so good chance it's been in here for anywhere from 8 months to a year. And so it's been held tight in there. So when you open it up and pour it in your glass, you really want to move it around. Add the air to it to open up the aromas.
Okay. 2016, that was 2 years ago. So that's the grape. That's when the grape was picked.
Exactly.
Okay. And how long does it sit in a barrel until it gets put in a bottle?
It really varies from varietal to varietal. It's a winemaking decision. So when you are shopping for wine, that's a great question to ask, whether at the liquor store or at the winery.
So how long is it?
How long was it aged in barrel?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how long this one was?
This was 14 months.
14 months.
14 months. Okay. And that affects the taste, right? When you
100%. So as we go, what we'll do is what we learned in school and how we like to approach most tastings. It's a systematic approach. So you're looking for a few different things, and Carol will know too. You're looking for appearance. So when you pour yourself a glass of wine, you want to look at it and just check the color. It can indicate a few different things. It's good to check it above white, something white, because it will give you the best reflection of the color.
And tilt your glass a little bit as well so that you can, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, since this is audio only, how would you describe this color that we're looking at?
I would say like a light purple.
Yeah, light purple, a little ruby edge to it. But it's clear, which is important. You're checking to make sure there's no sediment or anything murky going on.
Or floating in your glass.
Yeah.
If it's starting to get like a orangey, like a tawny color, then that not only could signify the fact that it's been aged for a while, but it could also signify oxidization. And so if you're looking at something when you know it's supposed to be a little bit of a younger wine and it has more of an orangey type color to it, then that would be an indication that you probably don't want to continue drinking it.
And it's really beautiful to look at.
It's a beautiful color, yeah. That's what Pinotage is known for, is it's a very dark-skinned grape, so it does give a nice color to the wine. The next thing you want to do is really stick your nose in there. So don't be afraid, tilt your nose right into the glass. And you're looking for just different aromas. So you can start with fruit, for example, and kind of name one or two fruits that you might smell in there. It doesn't have to be a crazy list, and it doesn't have to be like grandma's blackberry jam or anything. It could be as simple as plums and blueberries and blackberries. Or
I get more blackberries on this
I think,
one.
you can smell some blackberry.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical.
Something a little spicy. What would you call that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I was gonna say baking spice, but then a little bit of like black pepper in there as well.
Yep.
And the fun thing about wine is that it's so subjective, and so characteristics that Tanya and I might be able to pick out aren't necessarily flavors or notes that you'll be able to pick out as well. And so, in a way, nobody's wrong.
Right.
You can get some far-fetched answers sometimes, but it's all about your own personal experience with the wines and what you're tasting and smelling. Because the memory is a very interesting thing. You can smell something once and it's locked away forever. So you might be smelling this and be like, oh, this reminds me of 1982 when I was doing whatever, or 2011 when we were celebrating this. And you might not necessarily be able to pick out the exact name or flavor of what it is that you're picking out, but it's at least unlocking a memory for you.
Right. And it could be as simple as I drank a lot of wine on that vacation.
Totally. It totally could be. Yeah.
Just like how tequila reminds people of Mexico, right?
Exactly.
Or spiced rum in Jamaica.
So next thing you want to do is take a sip and kind of figure out what it does to your palate. So where do you taste it? Do you taste it at the front of your mouth, at the back, all around? You do want to make sure you coat your mouth. So take it in and just swish it around and then swallow.
Now, it's important not to judge the wine on your first sip. And the reason why we say this is because the first sip is what's really just cleansing your palate. This is pretty acidic, so it's making me salivate a lot.
Edges of the tongue.
Totally.
So the first sip really is just to kind of cleanse your palate, get it back to neutral from coffee, tea, donuts, other wines, whatever it is that you had right before you did it. And it's just to kind of set the tone for what your next sip is going to be like.
Yeah. For me, the second sip was much nicer, but I do like something that's tart. Not too sweet, but I don't like something that's too dry. Like with a lot of tannins, but no very little, like a very dry flavor. So I like something that's kind of tart, and this has
tart.
that.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost like a sour cherry flavor. Yeah,
I do like that.
Yeah.
And it's nice and acidic too, so then that's cutting through the tannins that's on your palate as well. It just kind of like they sit there for a second, but then it's like instantly released because you're salivating so much.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So there's only three wineries in the Okanagan that make a Pinotage. So it's pretty unique.
So it's the View, and what are the other two?
Stoneboat in Oliver and Lake Breeze in Aramata. And they were the first winery to plant Pinotage in the Okanagan, actually. Lake Breeze, yeah.
There's so many wines, so many great wines. How do you select the 4 or 6 that you're going to bring to a party?
So for the first package, which is kind of an introduction to the Okanagan, we will bring the most popular varietals or the most planted varietals, because we want you to get kind of an overall image of what the Okanagan is about. Right. So having said that, that would be Pinot Gris for white, Chardonnay, Merlot, and Pinot Noir. So if we were to do 2 whites and 2 reds, that's what you'd see. We pick the wineries based on our taste, so it is a little subjective in that, but that's where you kind of have to leave it to the experts, I guess.
Right.
But we're more than happy throughout the evening to give you suggestions of other great producers of those varietals, so that you can go out and try them. And what we try and do is find stuff that you're going to find at your local liquor store. You're not going to have to go down to Oliver every time you want a bottle.
Or have something that's like limited production and you have to get it as soon as they release it.
Yeah.
Because that's always disappointing when you try a wine and then you find out like 5 minutes later that it's not available anywhere. And you're like, oh, but I just fell in love.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one wine that gave you that experience where you were like, oh my God?
Can you remember?
I was going to say Wild Goose when we went wine touring.
Oh, that was recent. That was this year. Oh my God, moment. Yeah. It was $20, $22,
something like that. Yeah.
Wild Goose. And we fell in love with it. We were tasting it. Wow. We were having lunch there after, so we said, okay, we'll come and shop after lunch. And we go back in after lunch. It's like we sold out while you were having lunch. We sold out of the Meritage.
And they didn't even realize that they were down to like the last few bottles, and so we were a little upset.
Yeah, it was really. And then
really upsetting.
2 weeks later, the Meritage won the best red wine at the All Canadian Wine Awards.
Yeah.
And we're like,
so then we were even more disappointed because we couldn't get a bottle of it.
But it did solidify that our palate's on point.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
At least we'd like to think so.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the connection between price and quality, because I know a lot of lay people have a misconception that the more expensive it is, the more you're going to like it, which is definitely not true in my experience. Is it a better wine if it's more expensive? Why does the price vary so much?
It really depends on the winery, kind of first and foremost, and where the area is. So things that go along with figuring out a price point is basically the cost. What does it cost to make it? So what is your land price? How much did it cost you per acre to be able to buy the vineyard? How much are you paying your laborers? How difficult of a grape is it to make? Where is it in the vineyard? Is it going to get tons of sunlight so it's really easy to be able to grow, or is it more rockier soil? The soil doesn't hold on to the water. Like there's a lot of factors, and then of course government taxing makes a difference.
Right.
Labor.
And labor.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big one is labor. So and it depends on the winemaking style as well. That goes along with labor. So do you have a ton of people working in the vineyards? Are you hand picking or machine harvesting? Are you using automated technology to be able to do punch downs, or is it all like how labor intensive is it? So it does make a difference.
Labor's a huge
so and so in BC our taxes are a little bit higher. Not to be knocking the government, but they are a little bit higher. So unfortunately that leaves us having a bit of a higher price point for some of our wines compared to something that's more international, like from Chile or Argentina, where you can get actually a really great bottle for like $10 depending on what it is that you're having. So no, price point doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to be a better quality. There's a lot of wines such as this Pinotage that is about $25 and it's fantastic. It kind of depends.
Yeah. And is it fair to say it's kind of like art also, that if something is popular but it's very rare, then the price is naturally going to go up because there's a limited supply of that
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, most definitely. So you'll find too, in a lot of wineries, they'll have about 2 tiers that they price point their wines at. So you have your everyday easy sipping table wine that you're opening up on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening. And then they also have their...
we drink every day.
Yeah.
Tuesday,
I only
Wednesday,
listed
Thursday.
3 days out of the 7. I thought
Sundays
that
and
was
Mondays.
Sundays and Mondays you share one bottle. The other days they're all. So then, like I said, the wineries will also have a second tier, which is what you could consider their small lots, for lack of better definition, because each winery has their own reserve line that they would call it. So usually with stuff like that, it's smaller production, maybe more unique grapes depending on what the winery is, more time in barrel. So then that also adds to the cost of creating that wine, because instead of only having it in barrel for 12 months, they've now done it for 2 years.
French or American oak.
French or American oak, that makes a difference too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those barrels are
Is it new? Are they new? Are they used? Are you doing a little bit of both?
It's just a big long formula, basically, that the winemaker creates, and then at the end of the day, it has to do with that, and like you said, it has to do with what are people willing to pay for it,
Right.
Because, for example, the Oculus at Mission Hill, it probably doesn't cost 8 times more to produce than their $25 bottle, but people are willing to pay more for it because of the brand, and it has won significant awards and whatnot. But it is kind of a artwork thing, like you said. It's well, what are they willing to pay for it?
Yeah,
and that's what
cars. I mean, luxury products. They're similar across the board, right?
Yeah.
A $200,000 car is probably not 10 times better than a $20,000 car, but it is that much better, and it's rare. And people are willing to pay it.
It's the luxury. It's that status.
Yeah. All right. Is this the same one?
This is the same one. I poured you more to talk about.
How long should you let red wine aerate?
It varies on really the varietal. Like if it's a younger wine, like this is fairly young, 2016, so it hasn't been in bottle by wine terms that long, so you don't have to aerate it as long when you open it, because it hasn't been stuck in bottle for long. If you're opening like a 2000 bottle, then you do want to let it open up a while because it's been in there for a long time.
And decanting's a great way to be able to let it open up or air it out a little bit too. That's what they're made for, is to help that aeration, just to get a little bit more circulation into it, to let it open up quicker.
A good rule of thumb is while you're cooking dinner.
Right.
So whatever, an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. It's not super strict. Yeah.
That's awesome. I've always loved wine, but I'm more of a whiskey drinker.
Oh.
Went through a phase where I was a beer drinker, but it kind of gives me a little bit of heartburn now if I have like more than a couple. So, but whiskey still works great. I still love it. So, I mean, I think I think it's a good conversation because I love to learn about things, and so I'm not an expert on wine by any means.
Yeah.
I've been drinking alcohol since I was a teenager, to be honest. So that's a long time. So I'm always interested in learning about things. So I think hopefully these are good questions that will appeal to the audience.
Yeah.
They
they ask themselves.
They have the same questions. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too.
How important are legs?
You know what? Legs aren't important.
Exactly.
Let's for the next one. We'll talk about legs.
Okay.
So we brought the second wine we brought for you to taste is a Pinot Noir from Spearhead Winery, also East Kelowna. So these guys are neighbors.
Okay.
Grown
We
in
haven't
similar
visited Spearhead.
Not together, no.
Oh,
I've been there.
okay.
So Spearhead, small winery specializing in Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris, and they have a new winemaker as of last year, and he's kind of a big deal. So Grant Stanley used to be the winemaker at Quails Gate for about 10 years, and then he was over at 50th Parallel for a few years, and now he's moved over to Spearhead, and his thing is Pinot Noir. So it's really exciting to see what he's going to do at Spearhead, and they're growing. They've built a new production facility and stuff right now. So, but we brought the Pinot Noir for you to taste because it is the parent, or one of the parents, of the Pinotage. So And one of the reasons they created a Pinotage grape was because this grape is called the heartbreak grape. This grape is hard to grow and hard to make. So they were trying to create something a little more hardy and easier to grow and make.
So heartbreak because you don't know if it's going to work out or not because people end up breaking up over
No. No broken love stories over this one. No, just hard to work with. Yeah, but when you do find a way to work with it, you get amazing results. But
We'll try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs
not
like
for everybody.
perfect temperatures, not too hot, not too cold, perfect soil. There's just a lot that has to go into being able to create a really great Pinot Noir.
Yeah. So I'm just giving you tasting pours here. This is what we would typically do at a party. You want to pour for someone to have at least 3 sips, 3 to 5 sips.
When I was much younger and ruder, I used to say to the waitress, "Where's the other half?"
That's our favorite
For the
line.
straight face.
We get that a lot in a tasting room, that's for sure. That's it?
This is great. I love doing this on a Sunday. It's awesome. Previous guest just brought me as a surprise a bottle of whiskey.
Oh,
And I
nice.
said, "Did Karen tell you I like whiskey?" He says, "No, it says it on your Instagram."
Oh,
And I was like, "How thoughtful!
that is thoughtful.
What a wonderful guy!" And now I'm drinking wine.
Lovely.
Tough life, eh?
Yeah.
Hard life.
This is why we love Kelowna.
That's right.
So you can tell the Pinot's got quite a bit lighter color to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you can see through it. So there's a fun trick. So if you hold your Pinot Noir glass tilted over a newspaper, you should be able to read the letters through it,
Yes, I can.
right? Otherwise, if it's slightly darker in color, it probably means that they've blended in another varietal in there, which is totally allowed. And up to 15%, they don't have to tell you what it is. And if they blend in more than that, then it has to be declared on the label. But it's a good little test for yourself to do.
Is it Vinter? Is that the correct word? A winemaker? Has a winemaker ever been caught doing something dishonest? So, for example, saying it's a Pinot Noir and it's actually not. I guess
know of a
people with your experience can tell.
Yeah.
So
So there was
You wouldn't.
a winery, which we will leave unmentioned because it's here in Kelowna.
Okay.
But they were exporting product and claiming that it was a specific wine, not necessarily Pinot Noir, but a specific wine, and they got caught.
Wow.
And
what
they're
happened?
claiming it was something else. They're in jail, from what we understand.
jail?
Yes.
It was a large amount that
Wow.
they were
A large
exporting.
So,
So
it's basically drunk.
I think if it's something smaller, like the people that keep track of this, so something important to actually say, and both these wines have it, is the BCVQA. So in Canada, our standardization body is the VQA.
Which
and
stands for?
Vinters Quality Assurance. So these guys are who double checks that what the winemakers are saying, what the wineries are saying is true about this wine.
Yep.
So when you're purchasing wine, if you want to ensure that you're getting the high quality BC product, you want to look for the BCVQA.
What does that stand for?
British Columbia Vinters Quality Assurance. So it means that this wine has been tested by the VQA board.
And it is what they say it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So a winery has to, once they've bottled a wine, and even in the process of winemaking, they have to send samples off to the VQA board, which gets tested. And they can't release the wine with VQA stamped on it unless they've gotten that approval already. So it's not like they can try to, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pass it off.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, any product, if you put a false label on it, you're breaking several laws. And when you ship that across the border, you're breaking more laws. So, but I was just curious if there was any crazy stories. But
No, I wouldn't say. I think it might be kept within the wineries if there is.
Yeah, there was a Netflix documentary called
Sour Grapes.
yes, and which was really good if you haven't seen it.
have you seen it?
Yeah.
I'm not one for documentaries, I will be completely
I love
honest.
them.
And
I
this one
am,
actually,
I love them.
my husband loves them, so I made him watch it, and managed to stay awake during all of it, except for like the last 5 minutes, of course. But the premise is, it was really good, I will say that. But the premise was about this guy that basically fooled everybody. He was creating his own product and putting it into bottles of wine and selling it off as like $1,000 product.
Yeah.
And eventually got caught.
Yeah.
But it was really neat. So I think there's a little bit more of that type of stuff more in Europe, because then after that I have read some articles about like wineries in Italy or France that have had falsified information and and people that were spending thousands of dollars on bottles of wine that actually wasn't what they claimed it to be. So aside from here, I don't think
For
there's
here,
anything
no.
We've heard
major.
stories like that with art, right? Fake art and stolen art and
Yes.
doctors and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
A lot of people who buy the $1,000 bottles, they're just putting them in their cellar
Collection.
to
Yeah.
show them off. So unless they're opening it up, you would never know. And that's
Yeah.
how they get away with it for so long.
That's so
That's
I
true.
think, and the moral of the story is Canadians are too honest to lie.
We're too high, we're too polite. Although I have a story when I was a teenager. My dad didn't drink,
Yeah.
but he always had a big liquor cabinet because he liked to entertain people. He had people over. He might have like a light beer or something, one drink type thing, but he was not a drinker. So as a teenager, I think I was 14 or 15, we thought we could take his vodka and get away with it because,
Of course.
right? So we replaced it with water and thought, well, later when I have some money, I'll replace it.
Yeah.
Right? And he had some friends over, and he had a friend who was a big drinker, and he loved vodka, and he said, make me a screwdriver, vodka orange, and he's like, put some more vodka in it, it's too watery. And so he put more in it, tasted more watery, and I got in major trouble with that. So I didn't get away with it. You cannot get away with that sort of stuff.
No, not with vodka.
So yeah, do you want to explain what legs are? 'Cause it
Oh, yeah, we totally forgot.
comes up a lot for
Yeah.
people.
So, I mean,
this
the
one
thing
has-
is, I don't think it holds much value. Really, all that it tells you about wine is the alcohol and sugar content of it. But it's not the best indicator of those two things, and it's kind of an old school idea, I think.
And that's
that,
the
Teardrops.
yeah. So when you swirl
Teardrops
your
and
wine
stuff.
and you watch the teardrops come down, it's about the viscosity of them. So how fast do they come down and how thick are they? So if you were to do this with an ice wine, obviously it would be very different than what we're doing right now. It would be quite thick and quite slow,
Very, very
which would
slow.
tell you that the sugar content is quite a bit higher.
yeah.
But with red wines, the legs are going to be pretty similar with a lot of the red wines, so it's really hard to tell a difference there. So I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't use that as a judge for wine, but it is something that I feel like
Everybody
people were
talks
taught
about.
long.
Yeah, we were taught a long time. Oh, if it's got great legs, that means it's a good wine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We see that a lot in the wine,
Yeah.
in the wine industry. Yeah.
yeah.
So this is the Spearhead Pinot Noir 2016. Tell us about this wine. Tell us a little bit about it. Or did you already? No.
No.
Not really. No. It's delicious, first of all.
Yeah. I'm leaving the stains on it.
That is true.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. This is super cheap table. It's meant to be.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so Spearhead is just located out in East Kelowna, so very close to the view, like Tanja had mentioned earlier. So what's nice about this is because it is the parent grape to the Pinotages, that I do get very similar characteristics to it, just in terms of flavor profile. It's not as acidic, I would say. The tannins on it are a little bit
Softer.
they're a little bit softer for sure, and they last a little bit longer compared to that Pinotage that we had. But then just as terms of flavor profile, a little bit of smoky, a little bit of earthiness in there, which is a common characteristic for a Pinot Noir, and then some cherry blackberry.
Yes.
A little red fruit. A little more red fruit. I get a little raspberry.
Aha, perspective.
Perfect. Well, that's really nice to have perspective from two experts, right?
Thank you for calling us experts.
Well, you're not. It's nice that you don't have the identical view
Yeah.
of something, but it's harmonic.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not contradicting each other. Have you ever got into an argument in front of clients?
No.
No.
Oh, God.
That's wrong.
No.
That is not raspberry.
No, but again, wine is so subjective, right? So
Yeah.
especially when it comes to flavor characteristics or aromas that you're tasting or smelling, then
I
you
think
kind of
we're
have to
aware of
let
that,
it go.
yeah.
But no, I don't even think we've ever fought as friends either. So that's kind of good. Knock on wood.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's keep that going. We'll come back when we have our first fight and I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Spearhead Winery. I just found out that my girlfriend goes there without my knowledge. So what's great about it?
So it's not too far from you. That's probably one reason. It's a small winery in East Kelowna. Yeah, boutique. They specialize in Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris.
And that was the winemaker who switched companies.
Yes, Grant Stanley. So very well, like Pinot Noir is his variety.
How long has he been there?
Just
2 years.
2 years.
Second vintage,
Yeah, so he seems to do really well where he starts a Pinot Noir program and elevates it to become like the #1 Pinot Noir and then switches wineries. So it'll be neat to see what he does for Spearhead and if they are planning on, I don't know, I'm assuming because they just built a new production facility, but if they are planning on expanding and getting higher production levels, it'll be neat to see where he takes them because he is very talented as far as the winemaker is concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, winemakers move around. Just something to note. It's not that he's like running or changing. Winemakers move around quite a bit.
common.
Kind of like a chef. You know, they accomplish what they want to accomplish, especially with a certain varietal in a certain place, and then they move on to new challenges.
Yes, makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the wine industry in general too, because there's very talented people that work here in the valley, and there's only so many wineries to be able to go to. So, and only so much that you can accomplish at a winery as well. So you just kind of got to move around a little bit.
Yeah. Makes sense. Great.
How did you like the Pinot?
Oh, I finished it.
Better? Did you like it better or worse than the Pinotage?
I wouldn't say worse, but I like the Pinotage better.
A little bit better, yeah.
okay.
I thought maybe you would. But he said he liked the tartness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The acid
Just,
on it?
well, I like the flavor better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we helped you discover a new wine today.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Our job is done.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Awesome. So we're just doing 2.
We're just doing 2 today.
All right.
Yeah.
Can I have a
We
little
figured it
more?
wasn't even.
A little more Pinotage.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll step on.
It's
This
5
is for
o'clock
you.
somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this
you
is
can
part
keep
of the
it.
reason that we also, when the party is done, we leave the wine with you. So, you know, tastings only take, you know, a few ounces. So even if it's a party of 10 people, let's say, we'll make sure we bring enough so that when we leave, you still have some of that wine to enjoy with your party.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I kind of think of us as party starters. So
Yes.
you know that awkward part, but you know, my other job is as a wine tour guide.
Okay.
And so I experienced that first half hour in a van with a bunch of strangers and no alcohol, right?
Right.
And my job is to be the icebreaker. So I think our goal is to be the icebreakers at your next event. So whether it's in your house or it's for your corporate Christmas party or whatever it is, that first little bit for everybody is kind of tough. So we want to, you know, change that up. We want to
wonderful.
add wine to it. We want to add some knowledge to it. We want to, you know, whatever. And then an hour in, we leave you, and you have the wine to enjoy, and you have some conversation topics.
Yeah. Food pairings. Is it the homeowner or the business owner that's bringing you in? Are they telling you this is what we're going to cook, or this is the food we're having, or do you guys take care of some food as well?
It's a combination. It can be a combination of things. So we can customize every package essentially. So if you are, once you let us know what type of event you're hosting, we'll work with you from there. So if you've got the food going, then we'll pair the wines to the food that you're cooking for the event, or vice versa. If you've asked us to bring the food, then we'll pair it to the wine we're bringing. And
Do you cook, or do you have some chefs on speed dial, or do you use restaurants? Or
we would partner with local caterers.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there's some great spots like One Big Table and Start Fresh are some new ventures in Kelowna that we really like working with.
Great.
So keeping it local for sure. Yeah.
And what's so is the pricing a certain price plus the cost of the wine? Is
No.
that how you do it, or is it?
Nope, so it's
all-inclusive?
depending on the package, it's all inclusive. So do we want to go into pricing or like we can actually
You don't
price
have
it?
to. I
Oh,
just
okay.
like
So
in general terms, I'm trying to hopefully build some intrigue so people
Okay,
are like, oh, check
yeah.
this out.
Yeah, so
Right.
the 3 packages that we have, the first one is the one where it is just the Okanagan wine. So that starts at a certain rate per person, and it's a minimum of 4 people for a booking. So that starts at $49, and that includes the wine as well. And then we have another package that we have lovingly called the Showdown. And the purpose of that one is to be able to compare wines from the Okanagan or BC or Canada to wines of the world. So taking to a sparkling wine, comparing it to a champagne, or a Meritage and comparing it to a Bordeaux style, or Chardonnay versus a Chablis. So that type of thing, just to kind of see the difference between what New World would be compared to what's considered an Old World style. So that one would be $69 per person, and then again we bring the wine. We bring everything basically, so the glassware, any little games and such that we want to be able to host or do during the event. Mats, so they're like tasting mats, so you can write down your information and then you have it for at a later date if you're interested in buying the wine again. And then again, for minimum of 4 people per person or per party. And then we have the custom. So that doesn't have a price point on it because it really truly is, what is this person looking for? What kind of event is it? Is it a bridal shower? Is it a bachelorette? Is it a sip and see? Is it a birthday party? Is it a corporate event? Do you want 4, 6, 8, 10 wines? Do you want food added to it? Do you want to focus on a specific varietal, like a rosé party, or do you want just world wines? Or it's endless.
Unlimited, yeah.
Right. So you will do foreign wines as well, not
Yes.
just Okanagan.
Yes. So as we love the Okanagan, there's no question about that. But with the education that we have, it is very focused on international wines, and
Right.
so it's just a nice way to be able to keep both pieces of our lives. We have all of the information, or most of the information, about international wines, and then to compare it to what we deal with on a daily basis.
Yes.
So if someone wants to have an Italian team night,
Yeah.
Yes,
you can
totally.
do that.
Yes.
So we're going to do that.
Bring it
Yeah.
the
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And the
For
great
sure.
part of bringing the wines and leaving them is people are always coming in and saying, I had a really good red wine, had a white label.
What does that even mean?
I don't know where do I start for help? So leaving it.
Did it have a red shoe on it?
Yeah, exactly. So leaving the wines, at least they're able to maybe take notes later.
Yeah,
Exactly.
take a
Take
photo.
picture of
Yeah.
the labels.
Yeah.
We always
Exactly.
encourage people. I work in a winery during my day job as a winery, and so when we're doing tastings, if somebody likes something, it's always encouraging to get them to take a picture of the label so that they can remember it at a later date.
Definitely. Definitely. Do you have any more questions? Kara comes up with great questions as soon as I shut the
Oh, come on,
The white
Of
Kara.
course I do, but I have too many. So
So
Yeah, we could talk wine all the
Because
time.
everyone-
Yes.
yeah, no, I can't even think of anything right
Okay,
now.
so I pretty much covered
You
it.
did it.
Yeah. Awesome. So, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you? Do you prefer that they look at a website and then give you a call, or just give you a call or a text message? What is your favorite way for people to
We've
approach
got
it?
a few different avenues you can contact us via. We have our Instagram, and you can check out some images of our favorite wines, and we try and give like really good wine tips on there. So whether it's our favorite varietals or kind of what's going on in the vineyards right now, or what we're doing, or we're up to if you want to attend some events and stuff, you can send us a message on there. You can send us an email at info@redlipsandwinesips.ca, or visit our website and submit an online booking form.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Before you go, I would like to take a picture of us.
Okay.
So I have a little tripod, and I think you can set a timer on this.
For sure.
Okay.
So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who would you like to nominate to come on the show in the future? One guy said, I can't just name one person, he named like 6, but
It's
most people do 1 or
true.
2.
We do know quite a few talented people in the Okanagan,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to be able to choose just one person.
1 or 2?
One each.
I know you said our husbands, but I feel like they would have like the same story as. Well, I know. I guess Travis
No, they
is
would be
from
Do
there.
they do the business
No,
with you?
No,
No.
they have separate businesses.
No.
Well, that's fun.
So my husband, Justin, he just started his own business not too long ago called Barrel Creations, and he repurposes used wine barrels into home decor pieces.
Cool. Great.
Beautiful work.
Which is good because you're real estate, so it could.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, it's a
definitely
nice
gifts
gift
and-
idea. Yeah.
This is
This
a
is a
gift
gift idea. Can we
Yes.
package something?
Yes,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like you give a bottle or two of wine and then attach a little
Yeah,
party
absolutely.
certificate.
And for some clients, I would even offer to say, they're going to call you. I'm going to set this up. Like clients that I know love wine,
Yeah.
I think they would really appreciate it. And I would tell you, here's our budget,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is, $100, $200,
Yeah.
and then just build something
For
according
that.
to their
Totally.
wishes that they're going to love.
Totally.
I think that'd be
Totally
great.
possible.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
What a better way to kind of christen your home, right?
Yeah,
With
definitely.
Okanagan wine.
Really.
My husband is a retired hockey player
Uh-huh.
and a strength and conditioning coach locally, and he works with local hockey teams, junior hockey players.
And what's his name?
Travis Martel.
Travis
Yeah,
Martel?
he has Martel Elite Fitness is his company.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I guess
And-
yeah. The only other person that would be someone that is Shannon from Mamas for Mamas.
Shannon from Mamas and Mamas.
She started Mamas for Mamas charity, and it's an incredible charity in
I
town.
think someone else mentioned her.
What's her last name?
Christensen.
I haven't hit that one up yet.
But then even like Megan, who helped us with our social media,
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
Alex and
Some
his
ladies. We'll give you
buddies.
some names, and maybe they'll come up.
That's
Yeah.
the tough part is that
Yeah.
so as we've
There's so many people,
gone through
yeah.
this venture,
Actually,
it's
Alex, yeah,
amazing.
that could be cool. They're a new marketing agency in town, called Tops Agency, and we're working with them for our.
Well, your
service.
husband sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
And Annika, your husband has the same last name
Yes.
as you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justin Betts.
Yeah,
Justin, that's great.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's great. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Is there anything else you want to say before I cut the tape?
I don't.
I think
We
we've
love
covered
I think
everything.
it's
I
good.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is just to share about our business. And I think
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
that quite
Yeah.
a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and
Yeah,
thank you
thank
for the
you for
wine.
having us.
It's
Thank
delicious.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
us. Yeah.
So, tell us about Wine Folly. What's that? I heard you ladies talking about that.
It's,
when I was in the other room.
It's Annika's favorite book.
It is my favorite book right now. Her name is Madeline. That started it with, I think, her husband or boyfriend or some techie
Scratch
guy.
that. It's not
I don't
speculative.
Some way.
She has a business partner,
Yeah.
and she has it was called Advanced Education, but it's the same. It's level 3 WSET, and so she has a website, Instagram page, and has written some books about everything wine, and it's just a really great resource to be able to use because not only does she have chapters or pages on the different wine regions, but like every single grape that is out there.
Right.
And it's very attractive looking, so it's nice just to flip through and reread information that you already kind of know, but just helps you remember it a little bit more.
Yeah, she uses infographics. So she'll create an image and then attach words to it and really break it down. Because wine can be complicated. I mean, you notice when you ask, where does the price of wine come from?
Yeah.
We listed like
It's a
200
complex
things.
topic.
Yeah. So she really tries to simplify it so that you don't feel intimidated. Right?
So, it's Wine Folly by
Madeline Pouquet.
Madeline Prickett?
Pouquet.
Pouquet.
Piquet?
Piquet.
Pickett.
Okay.
I think is what it is.
and and so it's a book, but she also has a website.
Yeah. And an
social
Instagram
media
page.
and Wine Folly. Yeah, cool. Got it. Okay.
She was
on
like
to that.
a punk rocker, and then she turned into a wine person,
Yeah.
She was a what, sorry?
like a punk rocker.
Oh, really?
She was
That's
like
hilarious.
in a band.
Yeah.
I can
use-
see that.
Yeah, Pouquet. Pouquet. I don't
We've
know.
got
Oh, P-U-C-K.
beautiful early 1970s linoleum.
Yeah, you love it.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Vintage.
It's gonna come back, really.
All right, so Tanya and I, yeah, that's perfect. So I'm gonna
Sure.
partners in
We're
wine.
staying here?
That's great.
Yeah, this is our uniform.
This is, yeah.
So
We must wear
10
it.
seconds. And I'm doing it squares.
I got all my own lipstick.
We'll have to ask you after where you got the idea for your podcast. Can we stay all day?
Yeah, of course.
It must have taken.
Did it take?
Didn't flash.
Were you on? Do you know Jackie Boucher?
Oh,
Were you on a big wine tour a couple of years ago when we went to all those church
Yeah.
wineries?
no, I wasn't.
You still look like somebody from there.
Oh,
I have her picture and it says Jesus
drank wine too with the
He
t-shirt.
sure did.
And I was like, that's perfect.
It's good or?
It's fine.
Oh, okay.
So he always
Is it good though? Because you just said
You-
fine,
it's
and that
girls.
sounds worse.
or girls.
It's fine. What do we correct? Chin down.
Yes, chin down and shoulder back.
Yeah, shoulders back.
Boobs up. Yeah.
Urban liquor store. Show that off.
With a glass of wine in your hand. Perfect.
All right.
Do you know what? I want to do one more. It just occurred to me, like the camera flips, so we could see ourselves. You don't have to have it like.
We're doing it old school right now.
Yeah, it's like
Hilarious.
We are doing it old
You
school.
take a selfie.
second.
Selfie stick.
guess how it works and just turn it around.
I like that they took us 2 rounds to figure this out. Oh, God.
I think I know this by now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Excellent.
But will it
And
do
it'll
a
say
timer?
10, 9, 8.
Oh,
yeah,
it
actually
does.
flashes on the screen.
Oh, yeah. Why did you face the timer?
What happens after you're drinking wine for a while?
Excellent.
Instead of like guessing, like, where is it at?
Perfectly.
So how come? Where'd the idea for the podcast come from?
So, it's kind of. Everybody asks me that, and I'm not quite sure, but I originally was going to do on real estate called I Love Real Estate, but then I realized that not everybody loves real estate. Like, a lot of people do. A lot of people are interested in it, but everybody loves Kelowna.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha.
And I found that, so I interviewed a couple of realtors, and I found that their personal story was more interesting than
Yeah.
just real estate.
Yeah.
I love real estate. I love talking about it, but you know, I like wine too. I
Yeah.
like so many different things,
Yeah.
right? So what makes Kelowna great, in my opinion, is the people. So even if you look at a vineyard and our natural geography and how beautiful it is and how it's great for growing grapes and everything like that, it takes a human mind to come up with the concept and say, I'm going to build a vineyard here and I'm going to make this varietal and here's how I'm going to do it. And right, it's the human story behind it that makes our city so great.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
And so I'm having so much fun doing it. So one of the reasons we get someone to get you to nominate someone is because I never heard of your husbands before.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to have another great conversation or 2 more great conversations.
Yeah.
You know?
That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
So it's just expanding like that. So of course we'll tag you in when we post it, and we're also going to tag the people you've nominated,
Okay.
and we're going to tag all these wineries and your businesses and everything like that. So
Perfect.
So I'll contact you and let you know that I've reached out to them and what form I did it in, so that you can kind of go.
Hey, by the way.
You might have a Facebook message from some rando, just let you know.
It's about us.
It's
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah.
and so Karen nominated you,
Yeah.
but if it was somebody else, they would also be tagged
Gotcha.
in the post. So it's a lot of tagging.
It's good.
No.
It's
Well, and it just
growing
goes to
business.
show the power of social media as well, right? Which is
Yeah.
kind of nice. And
Have you seen my
That's good.
Instagram?
Yes.
So what I started
They
to
stopped him.
yeah. So I'll do a little graphic. So the headshot that you sent us, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll build it into like a little meme with my favorite quote
Oh, no.
from
We
what
have
you
any
said.
good ones.
What are you gonna use? Yeah.
I know, right?
That's good.
We drink wine 7 days a week. Use that one.
Sounds like
That was
me,
a good
folks.
one.
So this woman, she's an author. She's not from here, but her parents live here, and she comes here to write.
Oh, okay.
She's a Canadian book author, and she comes here for inspiration.
Wow.
They have a beautiful lake, and then she did her book launch here in Kelowna. So
Cool.
She nominated Sabrina, and then Sabrina nominated Jennifer Mulga.
Wow.
Yes.
From the view.
From the view.
Exactly, and then
I think this one, I'm particularly proud of this one because I like blocky font.
Yeah.
She's standing by the bricks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Perfect.
match the colors.
Yeah.
And I thought this was really nice. Like, you think home organizing, well, what's the big deal? My kids are slobs, like, so what, right? But I thought this was a really
That's
nice,
a nice one, yeah.
quote. Did you see it?
Yeah. I saw that one earlier today.
Yeah, so we'll try to.
Do your thing. I'll be
Okay.
back later. Thank you
Nice
so
to meet
much.
you.
It was nice to
Thank you for contacting us.
No
It's
problem.
very exciting.
Thanks
yeah.
for following me.
Luke Mankus is a realtor. He loves what he does. We asked Luke if he had any regrets about moving here in 2011. And he always says, yeah, one regret. And that is, he didn't move here sooner. When Luke came here, he didn't know anyone. He didn't know the neighborhoods or anything or anyone besides his daughter, who was 6 years old at the time. So he knows what it's like. Now, he's an expert and has helped well over 100 single people, couples, families, and investors with their real estate needs in the Okanagan. If you're new to our beautiful city, Luke can help you get connected with great lawyers, dentists, carpenters, landscapers, swimming pool installers, you name it. And whether you're new to Kelowna or not, Luke knows real estate. He can help you find a great property, negotiate a good deal, and hold your hand all the way through the process until the day you get your shiny new set of keys. Luke is known as a no-pressure kind of guy. He's had clients where it took even a year or more to get them into a property. He just doesn't believe in rushing things. On the other hand, when you decide it's time to act, he's diligent and he'll work day and night until the job is done. Give Luke Mankus a call or a text message at any time. 778-215-4273. Again, that's 778-215-4273. 778-215-4273 to chat with Luke about real estate.